All right, and we are live, and I'm here with my frequent sidekick, Artistic Layman.
Even white boys got the shout.
Indeed. And Matt Forney is also with us tonight.
Oh man.
And all right, so we got a lot to talk about tonight. George Bush Sr. He passed away. We'll be discussing him a little bit.
Hallelujah.
An early Christmas present, and we got an interesting little article on. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's a lot of fun, and a couple other things I'll probably bring up. But first, some house cleaning. Tomorrow night, Matt Forney and I are going to do a stream at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and the topic is going to be why Matt Forney hates Christmas. So I'm looking forward to that.
The topic was going to be why Bechtloff is a consumerist freak.
Save it for tomorrow, Ebenezer. All right.
Well, let's see. I'm kind of conflicted on this one.
But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
You'll especially want to stay tuned for afterwards when we do dueling live streams calling each other liars.
Yeah, it's gonna be about a month of that.
Then I'm gonna go and join a cult.
Ooh.
Sounds like fun on a bun. All right. So yeah, look forward to that tomorrow night, folks. And all right. So first topic. George Bush Sr. passed away. What was it? Yesterday. Fuck him. I don't have any. I mean, I don't dislike him as much as his son, but fuck him. He was a globalist neocon shitbag.
Yeah, my response to him, if you watched my stream earlier today, my response to him dying was I cracked open a beer on air. That's how I feel about George H.W. Bush. That entire dynasty should just the Bush dynasty, their entire line should just be I don't want to say exterminated. It should go away. It should be exterminated by natural law.
With Jeb, we almost had our first autistic president, so that's a shame. He could have handed out turtles to other world leaders. Yeah, Bush Sr. was, if anything, he was probably one of the major forces that sabotaged Reagan's attempt to do any good in this country. Fuck that guy. Like, to hell with him. You know, the only fond memory of George Bush Sr. that I think this nation should have is that really funny episode of The Simpsons where he moved across the street from Homer. All right, that's it. That's the only positive contribution this man made to American society. And he didn't even do that directly.
Yeah, I mean, I read an article on my stream about from Socialist Worker because it was the only one I could fucking find because everything negative about the Bushes has been scrubbed off of Google. Detailing just how corrupt the Bush family is going back generations. They've been beneficiaries of crony capitalism and glad handing in the Republican Party and the corporate world in general, going back to World War One. They are the ultimate example of blue blood, spoon-fed, inbred royalty. And you can especially see that in the latest generation. That the half Mexican son of George P. Bush, the dude who got arrested for stalking his ex, and who literally looks retarded. That's the Bushes, okay? They're like a less charming version of the Habsburgs.
Yeah, they're basically they're a less pretty version of the Kennedys. You know how the Kennedys were all a bunch of corrupt assholes? You know how JFK was probably the best of the bunch and he was a shithead? That's the Bushes. You know, George H. Bush may be the best of his whole fucking family, and he's a shithead.
I don't know. I think the best one was Barbara Bush because she just kind of sat in the background and baked cookies.
Barbara Bush, I don't know. Yeah. But of the politicians, I should say. I mean, yeah, you know, the nicest thing I can say about George H.W. Bush is he wasn't as bad as his son. You know, I mean, that's the nicest thing I can say about him.
Well, I can say one thing. Like the Gulf War was, as far as wars go, pretty well executed. I talked about this on my stream, but basically, we got in there, we bombed Saddam's military to hell because he deployed it in the desert. Tanks in the desert, a very smart move. We neutered him. We put the no-fly zones and the sanctions. We got him out of Kuwait. But most importantly, we left him in charge of a shithole country. We didn't just try and remake it, Iraq into a democracy like Sonny Bush did. So he handled the Gulf War pretty well. I'll give him that.
I'm still not all that convinced the Gulf War was necessary, but yes, the execution was just fine.
Yeah, I mean that part's debatable, obviously, but in terms of handling a war, that's how you handle a war. You smash the enemy, you leave them in charge of a shithole country because they're look at the fucking power vacuum that opened up when Saddam was taken out. We're still dealing with it. Oh, what? 15 years later with ISIS running around?
Taking out Iraq, taking out Saddam was the single greatest foreign policy blunder in America's history since our involvement in World War I. And it will sadly likely have as disastrous and long-lasting consequences as our involvement in World War I. I mean, our involvement in World War I is what basically set the 20th century on fire. And our taking out Saddam Hussein may have been the 21st century equivalent. Yeah, fuck W. And you know what else drives me nuts? Getting to W a little bit here is the amount of like Christian leaders that fawn over fucking W and they sneer at Trump. Like, oh, Trump doesn't have good character, but W was a good man. Fuck you. W was a shithead, like fucking moron who spent his life pissing away daddy's money, most of it going up his nose. And he raised a couple of whores. He failed up his entire life. Hey, I'll pit that against Trump any day.
Who do you think you are? A Kennedy? You're a Bush. Act like one.
Somebody says, is that from W, Luke? The movie?
Yep.
That movie was fucking weird.
If you feel bad for W at the end of it.
You can't even really say it's a good or a bad movie. It's just fucking strange.
And the same director
here says, isn't Barbara Bush daughter of Crowley? I've never heard that, so I couldn't tell you.
Crowley, the
Satanist dude, I guess.
I guess
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, neither do I. And frankly, at this point, I don't want to know.
Somebody says Franklin Graham kissing the Bush family ass. Yeah, Franklin Graham was one of the worst on that when it came to W, especially. I'll tell you one of the things that really shows you how corrupt these politicians fucking are. You've seen it at a few of these funerals lately. You saw this one where like George W. Bush, for some reason, pals around with Michelle Obama a weird amount. He's very friendly with the Obamas in general, but he's constantly just hanging out with Michelle Obama. I don't know if this is some sort of reverse cuck thing where the white guy's fucking the black chick in front of the black dude. I don't know what's going on with that. Well, I guess the black dude in front of the black dude. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. But it sort of tells you, like, I mean, you know, I have a memory longer than a few years, and I'll tell you this right now. I remember when Obama ran on essentially calling George Bush a war criminal, and now they're buddies. It just goes to show you with so many of these people, they don't believe any of the fucking shit they say. It's all goddamn game to them. Remember about a year ago when what was it? Shoe on Head and Armored Skeptic were just like palling around with Lindsay Ellis and shit. Like they were at a restaurant and they had this like happy dinner with each other, even though they spent all those Gamergate years calling each other shitheads and all. It's just all for fucking show with so many of these people. It means nothing. They believe nothing. It's a fucking power game. And you better believe with 90% of our politicians, that's what it is.
It's kabuki theater.
You think somebody's a war criminal and then you know, you pal around with them afterwards?
Oh yeah, in 2011, George H.W. Bush was awarded by Obama with the Medal of Freedom.
I mean, I can understand, okay, you're respectful to your political enemies and, in a two-party system, even if you think they're disgusting, you know what I mean? You shake their hands and look them in the eye kind of thing. But no, you just buddies with them because it's all a game to you. It's all a game to you. Yeah.
Oh, I found one good thing you could say about good thing to say about George H.W. Bush compared to his son. George H.W. Bush could pronounce nuclear correctly.
Well, I mean, compared to his son, that's sort of like saying that catching herpes is better than catching AIDS. Yeah, what is the what? Somebody in the chat says fart noises are very festive. Yeah, what is that in the background there? I don't know what that is, but stop doing that. Whoever's doing that. Let's see. Somebody asked if Forney's in a bondage suit. Yeah, that's what that noise was. All right, so let me get this article up. We're gonna read a nice article here. It's from a site called Women in the World, and Luke, you sent it to me on Skype earlier today, so I think you still have it, right?
Oh.
So this site is Pleasure Revolution. Dominatrix specializes in turning white right-wing men into socialists.
Huh.
A growing wave of sex-positive feminists are working to usher in what they describe as a, quote, pleasure revolution, unquote, in which women's sexuality is embraced rather than stigmatized by both individuals and society at large. According to advocates of the movement, such as author and feminist Stephanie Theobald, the pleasure revolution is, quote, about women asserting their own pleasure, unquote, just as the hashtag MeToo movement was about the problem of, quote, men imposing their pleasure on women, unquote. But for Reba Maybury, a 27-year-old political science professor and professional dominatrix, the larger problem is a historical power imbalance that she's now working to correct in a unique fashion. The socialist of mixed race background, yeah, I thought she looked a little 56%. Maybury, who also goes by the name Mistress Rebecca, says that she had, quote, always been fascinated by sex and notions of shame around sexuality, unquote, particularly in regards to fetishes. Quote, I find it ridiculous how secretive people are about their fetishes because everybody has them. Some are just more extreme than others. For most people, fetishes are quite subtle and sensitive, unquote, she explains. For many of her clientele, who are almost exclusively white right-wing men, citation fucking need it, because she like I'm not going to say that some right-wing men don't have some weird kinks. I'm just saying they'd go to a hotter one than her. I lost my place here. For many of her clientele, who are almost exclusively right-wing men, because she finds herself unable to, quote, to be even fictionally cruel to any other type of man, unquote, that fetish is serving a powerful woman. Maybury derives her... What is that noise? Stop that noise. Who is doing that? Stop it. Somebody don't do that no more.
Yeah, Matt is sitting on a balloon.
Yeah, stop doing that, Matt. Mute your mic if you're not talking. Maybury derives her pleasure from Maybury derives her pleasure comes from forcing that was poorly written. What are you doing, Matt?
I didn't do anything.
I'm muting you both. Stop it. Yeah, jeez. Maybury derives her pleasure comes from that sentence is poorly written. Comes from forcing those men to see the contradiction between their love of powerful women and their support for political parties that actively work to limit women's rights and empowerment. In her book, Dining with Humpty Dumpty, she details conversations with a man she said exhibited a disgusting contradiction, unquote, of claiming to be both, quote, a female supremacist, and a Tory. Oh, of course, this is coming out of the UK. Of fucking course.
Boy, bruv.
The eternal Anglo strikes again. Quote, a lot of the book people use political issues as a sexual fantasy and how that's problematic. Oh, I'm so sick of that word. Mayberry explained in an interview with Centra Pompadour, in the book, I decide to think about the power dynamics that exist between a dominatrix and her submissive. If he wants to really make me happy, which he says he does, what could possibly make me more happy than turning him into a socialist? I'm not even going to touch the irony of a political philosophy, centering around making everyone equal, being espoused by a dominatrix. Let's see. Watch us. Okay, you watch the interview. I don't think we're going to do that. So yeah, there we go. The eternal Anglo strikes again.
Oi, bruv, you got your domination license?
Look at this chick, man. It's just come on, guys.
Look at her closer mannerisms. Like, why did they take this picture of her?
God, she's slathered in makeup, and she's her face is still a fucking mess. Come on, guys.
That's the fucking She looks like she walked out of a gate to hell. Like the only thing this is missing, is some a pentagram in the background. Some fake blood on the wall. In other words, she needs to get up like Richard Spencer's girlfriend has.
Needs to go full Cenobite. Hashtag Cenobite nationalism. I just what are you guys doing with this? Come on, you couldn't at least find a hot one.
Hot women are not going to become dominatrixes. It seems to be a profession for kind of women who are kind of fucked up. Actually, it's a funny story. Terror House magazine is going to be publishing on Tuesday morning. We're going to be participating in the public humiliation of one Lawrence Bonk. Our co-editor Glon is fast friends with a couple of socialist dominatrixes who run a podcast. And in a Twitter chat and with a bunch of DSA commies and whatnot, these two dominatrixes dominated this Lawrence Bonk guy, this really pathetic looking cuck from Brooklyn, into writing an article about how awesome their podcast is, and they also forced him to get drunk in the middle of it. This thing is hilarious because it's the most pathetic thing I've ever read.
I don't know. I think I'd have to call out a safe word before I'm going to write left-wing propaganda.
Please send a picture of him to me.
Let me get his Twitter account for you, Luke. His name is Lawrence Bonk. If that helps, Bonk as in bonk on the head.
Is in the classic TurboGrafx 16 game.
Yeah, he's a pretty sad character. So we're gonna publish this piece because, we're the kind of place that we go there. We go there.
Is this him?
That may be him. That looks like him. The picture on Twitter that I was given, he has a bigger beard. Yep, that's him. That is him. Seriously, look at that guy.
The cat looks embarrassed.
I very much doubt this dominatrix, this British one, is talking about is converting right wing men. You have to have a certain mentality to be just domed by a woman in this fashion. I mean, I looked at this. I wasn't part of this Twitter conversation where all this happened because I'm not on Twitter, and you can't prove otherwise. But I saw the screen caps. This dude was, man. If the other communists are calling you a pathetic cuck, you really need to reevaluate where your life is going.
Guys, what are you doing here? Oh man. All right, let's move on to another article. We got some great articles here tonight. Actually, first, before I forget, let's go ahead and do the sponsors. So we got sponsors this week are well, it's the Pence Principle. And hang on a second, let's bring up the info because I am a professional here, folks. The Pence Principle by Randall Bentwick. Look, as it says here, Mike Pence has a policy. He's never left alone with a woman unless his wife is in attendance, and he doesn't attend parties where alcohol is being served without his wife. So basically, this is a book written in the aftermath of the Kavanaugh hearings, where we were going to crucify this guy because he supposedly pulled a girl's ponytail on the playground in third grade or something, and this talks about the Mike Pence principle, which people would snicker at a couple of years ago, and where he's not going to be even allowed to be in a position where these accusations come up, and this book talks about that and how you may want to adopt that to avoid getting yourself me too'd over some trumped up charges. So check this book out, folks. It's available in Kindle. It's available in paperback. So check it out.
And it's a damn good book. I must say myself. I've actually read it, and I will be reviewing it soon.
So
Awesome.
does this not to give spoilers, but does this book talk about like young men and how they can't really approach women?
It talks about how you should behave around women, given Me Too, and given that women gain prestige, they gain sympathy for claiming to be victims of rape. Hell, they gain money. I mean, friggin' Christine Blasey Ford is like six figures up because she merely accused Kavanaugh of raping her. Yeah, I commented years ago that it used to be that women dreamed of being able to sleep with famous men. Now they dream of being able to accuse famous men of rape. That's the kind of world we live in, and young men got to be prepared for that.
Oh boy,
these hoes ain't loyal.
They ain't paying taxes either.
Yeah,
Thought
that
Patrol.
hoe was Texas.
Thought patrolled. Boom.
So do check out that book. Also down below, you'll see we got the tip jars, we got the PayPal, the Patreon, the Amazon wish list. And folks, my channel's demonetized. I have not been run off the YouTubes yet, like some other folks, but that's probably coming. But my channel's demonetized. I can't do the super chats. And yeah, I guess I could set up the Streamlabs, but nobody liked fucking using the Streamlabs. I had it for all that time. I got like a handful of fucking super chats. And I don't like using the OBS program over Google Hangouts anyways. So, I'm not going to deal with that obnoxious pain in the ass program for maybe $1 every 2 months or something. But if you do want to support the show, and I greatly appreciate it, these are the 3 ways to do it. You can send a one-time donation of any amount at any time to PayPal. Could be $1, could be more. And you could support the show on Patreon each month. Again, $1 more, that's up to you. Even $1 is greatly appreciated. And of course, there's the Amazon wish list, where you can buy me some of the dumb shit that I like, and any of the dumb shit that I like that I get off the Amazon wish list, I will do a review of. In fact, just this week, I got one of the big Zelda hardcover books that Dark Horse put out. Now that I think about it, Luke, you can find a picture of it on my Gab or the Twitter or whatever. But yeah, I just got this in the mail. Dark Horse put out 3 of these. There's the Zelda Encyclopedia, the Hyrule Historia, and one's called the Arts and Artifacts book. Now, having read through most of this today, because it's just a big coffee table book, but all 3 of them are good. I would say the Arts and Artifacts are the one I enjoyed the most because it contained a lot of original art for the various games over the years. But the Zelda Encyclopedia is a good read too. So if you are a big fan of the Zelda series, all 3 of these books would be great. So that's my quickie review on the Zelda Encyclopedia. I do appreciate. I don't know who sent that to me. You can throw in a little note or something when you do that on the Amazon wish list, but not everybody chooses to do so. So I have no idea who sent this one to me.
Pro tip: you write in the note, "I know where you live," and it'll freak them out.
Yep, it'll freak. Well, I mean, I don't. I am pretty moderately well armed, so I mean, I've made my peace with God. If you want to dance, Luke, I don't know if you threw up a picture of it or not, but yeah,
Here we go.
Yeah. But yeah, good book. Good.
Who said they had hostile intentions, Bechtloff? Now you're the one being paranoid.
Yeah.
I'm visualizing you like the scene from like the telegram lady is like, "Hello, I am your singing telegram," and gets shot. That's you.
I got a claymore at the front door. I've engraved my name on all the beads.
Here it is.
Yep. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. It's funny too because I was actually waiting on the last Christmas present I needed to get wrapped, coming in the mail for a lady friend of mine. So I get home and I see there's a box and I'm like, but that is not the right size at all. What the hell is this? I'm like, oh, it's on my wish list. How about that? So yeah, those are the 3 ways to support the show, folks, and I greatly appreciate you supporting the show. If you like the content I put out, please do support the show while you're still allowed to buy and sell without the mark of the beast.
Give mammons.
I need them shekels.
I am your singing telegram.
That's a great fucking movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
What movie is that again?
Clue.
Oh yeah.
You've never seen it?
No, I have. I couldn't like remember. It's been so long since I've seen it. Like I remember the scene, but I was having a hard time placing what the hell movie it was in.
Yeah. That's one of those movies that could have and should have been an utter disaster, but it was just so funny. It's just fantastic. All
right, so we got another article we're going to dig into here. This is a lot of fun. Welcome to the current year, Goy. We're going to look at a little 1984 hellscape newspeak here. This is off of the NewYorkTimes.com, the source for left-wing boomer news. And we have an opinion piece, how Twitter's ban on dead naming promotes free speech.
Oh, please enlighten us.
I want to read that again for everybody, just in case you didn't catch that. How Twitter's ban on dead naming promotes free speech. Dead naming, by the way, is calling a tranny by their actual fucking name.
Their birth name.
Trans people are less likely to speak up if they know they're going to be constantly told they don't exist. Lord, it's going to be one of these. In September, Twitter announced changes to its hateful conduct policy, violations of which can get users temporarily or permanently banned from the site. The updates and entry on Twitter's blog explained would expand its existing rules, quote, to include content that dehumanizes others based on their membership in an identifiable group, even when the material does not include a direct target, unquote. That could not have been more fucking vague. Good. Boy, Twitter. Basically, if you're to the right of Karl Marx, say goodbye. A little more than a month later, the company quietly rolled out the update, expanding the conduct page from 374 to 1,226 words, which went largely unnoticed until this past week. While much of the basic framework stayed the same, which, by the way, does this mean that everybody who calls Donald Trump Drumpf has to get thrown off Twitter? Or is that it just doesn't apply in that situation? I'm not sure. I would tweet Jack and ask him, but I'm not allowed on Twitter because I'm not a cuck.
Hey, dude! It could also mean that everyone who misspells your name Bechtloff could also get kicked off.
Oh yes. If you put that T in the wrong space, you're fucking gone. That is after the CH, not before. Damn it! Don't fucking oppress me. While much of the basic framework stayed the same, the latest version leaves much less up to interpretation. Its ban on, quote, repeated and or non-consensual slurs, epithets, racist and sexist tropes. Oh dear. And
wait. The consent. So there's a concept of consensual slurs. So that means, Bechtloff, I can call you a faggot if you're okay with it.
Yes, I think so. So like when the dominatrix is calling you things, that's okay.
Can I call you a faggot?
I'd rather you didn't.
Okay, I won't then.
All right. I'm glad we had this talk. I'm not signing the affirmative consent form on that. Although I guess you can, because I'm not allowed on Twitter anymore. I'm on Gab, which is a whole different fucking trash fire. Racist and sexist tropes or other content that degrades someone was expanded to read, we prohibit targeting individuals with repeated slurs, tropes, or other conduct that intends to dehumanize, degrade, or reinforce negative or harmful stereotypes about a protected category. Yeah, not every group, just the protected ones. So fuck you, white men. This includes targeted misgendering or dead naming of transgender individuals. You better not be calling Blair White he there, Goy.
Even though he is detransitioning.
If I was still allowed on Twitter, you'd have to refer to me as a Bulbasaur. There's no getting around that now.
If I was still on Twitter, you'd have to refer to me as King of Swag.
The final sentence, paired with the fact that the site appears poised to actually enforce its rules, sent a rumble through certain vocal corners of the internet. To trans people, it represented a recognition that our identity, or, of course, because this person is, our identity is an accepted fact, and that to suggest otherwise is a slur. To many on the right, it reeked of censorship and political correctness. Twitter is already putting the policy into effect. Last week, it booted Megan Murphy, a Canadian feminist who runs the website Feminist Current. Miss Murphy hasn't exactly been supporting trans people, especially trans women. She regularly called trans women he and him. Yeah, there is a segment of hardcore leftist feminists that want no part of this training shit.
They are called TERFs.
I always love when the different heads of the Hydra snap at each other. That's always fun to watch. As she did, referring to journalist and trans woman show to Sean Fay in 2017 article. In her run-up to her suspension, mistweeted that men aren't women. While this seemed an innocuous phrase when considered without context, the men she was referring to were trans women. No, it was men are not women, period. How about that? As a transgender woman, as a blankety blank, I find it degrading to be constantly reminded that I am trans and that large segments of the population will forever see me as a delusional freak. Yes, large segments of the population will forever see reality, no matter how much everyone demands they don't.
So as a heroin addict, I'm offended at the fact that society is disgusted by the legions on my arms.
As a blankety blank.
So she doesn't want us to call her by her proper pronoun?
No, he doesn't.
Or he doesn't.
He.
So
don't get sucked into it. This man who pretends to be a woman. I see what you were saying there. I'm sorry, I got lost there.
So he doesn't want us to refer to her as a her then. So to remind us all the time that he's not trans, isn't that it?
How about I just referred to her? I'm sorry. How about I refer to him as "get the fuck out of my helicopter"? That's your pronoun. Your pronoun is the fucking pavement. Defenders of these practices claim that they're doing this not out of malice, but out of honesty and perhaps even a twisted sort of love. Yeah, let's speak about a twisted sort of love, shall we? They surely see themselves as truth tellers fighting against political correctness run amok. But sometimes voicing one's personal truth does just one thing. It shuts down conversation. There is no personal truth, bitch. There's truth. There's reality. And there's how much you are in line with it.
There's natural law.
You know, there's what the fuck is and what the fuck you think is are not necessarily the same thing. But what is, regardless of what you think. At The Guardian, Kenan Malik argued that banning misgendering will shut down debate on trans issues and strike a blow to free speech, which is the point. But in fact, the content free-for-all chills speech by allowing the dominant to control. I'm sure you're used to that, huh, Molly? the parameters of debate, never letting discussion proceed past the pedantic obsession with names and pronouns. Holy shit. You talk about projection. We could watch the fucking Godfather with this projection. The obsession with names and pronouns. We're going to open a fucking drive-in movie theater and use this fucking freak as a projector.
Plus, isn't it weird how the supposedly dominant voices on Twitter always are losing out in these arguments? Like, trans people are supposedly these marginalized people who nobody listens to just suddenly had the Twitter TOS rewritten to accommodate their particular fetish.
Let's be real.
Weird how that works.
The reason that they have to squash free speech, and this is true of the left in general, is because left-wing ideas and left-wing people both cannot withstand free speech. The reason every site that even halfway pretends to value free speech becomes dominated by right-wingers is, by and large, right-wingers are more in line with fucking reality. And these days, they're funnier, so that helps a lot too. So yeah, and if you allow free speech, the left loses the argument. And the left knows that. The left knows that the only way they can win this particular boxing match is if the rules said the other guy has to have both hands tied behind his back. And they still can barely win.
Understand that freedom of speech is based on the principle of harm. That if someone is driven to silence by harsh criticism and satire, they weren't forced to be silent. They chose to be silent.
Is that Riley Dennis?
The person in the image?
No, the clip you just played.
Oh well, it's a response to a feminist who had his video, who was advocating for naked. He was advocating for censorship, and his video got censored.
Oh, okay.
That's hilarious. I tend to be somewhat shy about media appearances, probably because you turned yourself into an androgynous monster, especially when it comes to TV. Again, because you probably turn yourself into an androgynous monster. In the back of my mind, whenever I'm invited on, I wonder whether I'll be able to discuss today's topic or whether I'm going to get roped into a debate over my own existence. Nobody is debating whether or not you exist. Trust me, we wish you didn't. But no, we're not debating whether or not you do. We can look and see that you exist. Nobody's arguing about your existence. You melodramatic fruit.
Fucking demons, man.
I know many trans people who feel the same. If it isn't harassment, I don't know what is. You don't know what is. The fucking cyberbullying shit too while we're at it. All right, when I was a kid, bullying meant that some sociopath was trying to kick your ass on a usually daily basis. It didn't mean that there were mean words on a fucking screen. I wish that bullying when I was a kid could be solved as simply as pushing a button on a fucking device and turning it off. All right, if you come to me and say you're getting cyberbullied, unless you mean your bully is an actual fucking cyborg, I don't have any sympathy for you.
Actually, a cyborg bully would be kind of awesome.
I don't know, though. It's pretty tough. They're unstoppable, you know? They might be coming from the future or something. That'd be scary shit.
Yeah, reality itself harasses these people. You know, it's like Common Philip used to talk about. These people are the biggest tyrants when it comes to speech. They cannot handle any sort of criticism because, as you said, Bechtloff, they know innately what they're doing is wrong. They know what they're doing is stupid and self-destructive, that they're ruining their own lives, but they need constant affirmation from everyone in order to feel better, to silence that little nagging voice, that little remnant of their soul that's left that says, "You're ruining your life. Stop."
And for trans people, these people are harassed by the mirror. All right. The vast majority of them, sometimes they look passable or even good. That's the vast minority. Most of them turn themselves into monsters. All right. They turn themselves into monsters, the kind of monsters that children routinely likely snicker at or shy away from. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of chemical imbalance in their blood that causes dogs to growl at them. All right, that they know that they've done this to themselves, and everyone has to throw them a parade constantly because there's that old pop song that Pink sang where she says, "The quiet scares me because it screams the truth." They need a constant fucking parade.
Yeah,
to drown out reality.
Yeah, I mean, did you watch that video last week where Blair White talked about how he was transitioning so he could have kids?
Yeah, and you can't throw me off here, YouTube, for bad whatever the fuck you call it, misgendering Blair White, because he said he's detransitioning now.
I really didn't need to know that he's never had bottom surgery. I love that. I love that guy's choices. He had facial feminization surgery to make his face look like to make his jaw look less angular. Well, he didn't go for the full kit and have his have his penis turned into a gaping wound.
I'm gonna say something, and I've said this before on here, and understand that I'm arguing over which pile of shit smells better. So I understand that, but I truly believe it is less degenerate to fuck a pre-op tranny than a post-op tranny, because if you're fucking a pre-op tranny, you're just fucking an ass. You're committing sodomy. Not the best idea, all right. But you compare that to fucking a post-op where you are fucking an open wound. That is some Cenobite shit. Like they didn't even tell you not to do that in the Bible because it hadn't occurred to anybody.
Trans women have to sit, often in extreme pain, and dilate their artificial vaginas with dildos for up to 5 times a day for months after sex reassignment surgery, and must continue to spend between 20 minutes to an hour dilating at least once a week for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I gun to my head, I had to do one. I think I'd sooner fuck the pre-op because holy shit, man. Can you imagine sticking your dick in a... There's no way that looks or smells or God help us taste like a vagina. There's no way in hell.
Plus, I mean, for the tranny, I mean, how is it even remotely enjoyable sexually to have someone stick their penis into what is an open wound? Like I don't understand it. I mean, I've never had this experience because I'm not a demon, but I've had wounds. I mean, when people stick things in the wounds, it generally hurts.
I don't know. Like I said, it's not even sodomy at that point. I don't think sodomy is an appropriate word for that. That's how Pinhead has sex. Okay, like what? Like that's like down there with Mexican sugar dancing kind of thing.
Be my guess. Though my guess is that blood is from constantly reopening that open wound between your legs where your genitals used to be while pretending it's a vagina.
Not wrong. Yeah, there's no way it looks right either. Your fucking disgusting axe wound down there. There's no way it... Oh, God help us all. All right, we got some other things. Hopefully this one's going to be... Okay, let's read the last...
Still going on the article?
One short little paragraph here. Sometimes, as the logic behind the campus speaker argument would dictate, we have to set parameters on speech if we want to actually have a debate on the issues, in which is the case of trans people are certainly not in short supply. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm not allowed to say what you should do to yourself. So let's move on to another article.
Here's
some final thoughts.
And here's where the final here's where the double standard will not apply.
Do a jig for you. I can do a jig for you. Here's my jig.
Oh no, ContraPoints! A straight white man is leveling racial insults at a black man. Herman Cain is being silenced and marginalized.
Yeah, no shit. Well, you know, like everybody calls it cucky when people were like Democrats are the real racists, and I get that. I get that it's this faggy thing that cucks hide behind. But you know what? It started becoming a saying because it's true. Okay. I mean, yeah, you can even argue how much of a valid word racism truly even is, whatever. But there's nobody that holds a lower opinion of black people that aren't useful than a white liberal. All right. Your average white nationalist doesn't think as lowly as black people as your average white liberal. Your average male feminist, I'm sorry, you're a Roosh does not think as lowly of women as your average male feminist. All right. They truly are. Because I don't even think racist or sexist or any of these other made up horseshit words are even apply. Leftists just hate. Okay. You know what they hate? They don't hate a group. They hate the light. That's what leftists hate. They hate humanity. They hate everything that's good.
Oh, and even better, the racism of liberals is actually now a scientific fact. Apparently, there was a study unleashed about how liberals interact with black and how liberals and conservatives interact with minorities. And it turns out the liberals, when talking to a black person, they will use more condescending and simple language.
Well, Larry Elder years ago, the black libertarian guy, which, by the way, what do you call a black libertarian at a libertarian convention? You call him the keynote speaker. But Larry Elder had a great book years and years ago. This was like late 90s, early 2000s, called like 8 Things You Can't Say in America, or I don't remember what the number was. But one of them was that blacks are more racist than whites. And the chapter after that was white condensation or condensation. Ugh. I can't fucking, I'm blanking on the word. You just said it there, Luke. Why am I having a brain fart?
Condescending.
Condescending. Yeah, white condescending is worse than it's worse than white racism. And he talks about just how liberals Oh, there was one politician. I heard him on Savage, but he'd appointed a bunch of diversity hires to his fucking cabinet. It was, I think, a governor or something. And he said, like, this person's an Indian man, but he does a great job. This person's a black woman, but she does a great job. It's just like, do you hear yourself, dude? Like, holy shit, man.
Oh, here we go.
Like just patting him on the head like he thinks he's people.
Oh, wait, I remember this. It was that senator from Indiana, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The one who lost.
Who's more racist, black people or white people? Black people. You know why? Because we hate black people too.
Okay, so we got an interesting little article on InfoWars here. I think I threw it in the chat there for you, Luke.
There it is.
New Mexico, not a state. Government worker tells newlyweds. New Mexicans asked to provide international passport by DC court clerks. Government workers told newlyweds that New Mexico is not a state and they would need to provide an international passport to receive a marriage license in Washington, D.C. The groom, a New Mexican resident and former Interior Department employee, said he and his wife were held up for 20 minutes after a court clerk and a supervisor claimed New Mexico was not a state. And I just want to repeat that. A court clerk and a supervisor. So it's not just like one idiot had a brain. Supervisor corrected him. Nope. The supervisor backed him up on New Mexico is not a state. It is a foreign country. You are from flyover country when you are applying for a marriage license. Give them your New Mexico driver's license, and they come back and say, "My supervisor says we cannot accept international driver's licenses. Do you have a New Mexico passport?" He said in a Facebook post.
To be fair, if you have been to New Mexico, you'd be hard pressed to say it's part of the U.S. either.
Well, you'd be hard pressed to say about fucking DC. Trust me, I live down southern Maryland, and let me tell you, every time I trip to DC, I thought I had stumbled into the heart of Africa. They went back to a supervisor to check if New Mexico was a state twice. In particular, the workers believed he was a foreign citizen and thus wouldn't accept his international New Mexican driver's license. A D.C. court spokesman confirmed the incident, stating that the clerk made a mistake regarding New Mexico's 106-year history as a state. We very much regret the error and slight delay it caused a New Mexico resident in applying. And I just want to point out that it wasn't just the clerk; it was the clerk and supervisor, as I said earlier. We very much regret the error and the slight delay it caused a New Mexico resident in applying for a D.C. marriage license, she told reporters. New Mexico was admitted as a state in 1912. The story would have been stunning enough it had happened anywhere in the country, but the fact that it occurred in Washington, D.C., which flyover residents often characterize as an out-of-touch bubble, makes it even more sensational. Oh man, that's your tax dollars at work. And we got another article I'm going to bring up here in a minute. Just in time for Christmas season.
Humbug.
What? Get off my show. It's bad enough Forney hates Christmas.
I hope this. Is it true that the Pope actually said that December 25th was not Jesus' birthday?
That what was Jesus' birthday?
December 25th.
I don't think anybody seriously thinks it's Jesus' birthday.
Apparently, I'm not sure if the article is true, but apparently the Pope has basically announced or admitted as a statement of fact.
Let's see.
I think that would be one of his least offensive statements, given all the shit he's done.
I don't necessarily. For once, the Pope and I don't disagree.
But why this Pope?
So we got you know what? I'm not going to read the Christmas article. I'm going to save that for a little later in the month. We're gonna check out this article. So you may or may not know, because maybe you don't watch TV, because I don't watch TV either. But Murphy Brown got brought back. You might have noticed a lot of TV shows have been brought back for additional seasons after decades off the air, with the original cast just kind of continuing. Roseanne, that happened with Roseanne, but then famously that was canceled because she did some wrong speak. And then they replaced it with the Connors, which flopped. They did that with X-Files. They've done that with a bunch of shows here lately. And they did that with Murphy Brown. They brought back Murphy Brown because surely this will stump the Trump, right? Murphy Brown, after a handful of episodes on the air, it is now canceled. And Luke, if you go into this article, if you go into this article, there's a little video here. You want to play this? It's a minute 29.
Oh, the video. Let me see. I'll get it up in just a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is this all about now?
So, yeah. Surely this will stump the Trump. Nope.
Stump the Trump. Let's see what we got.
CBS is bidding farewell to its Murphy Brown reboot, and Damon Wayans Jr. led Happy Together, with both shows ending after their initial 13-episode orders. The Murphy Brown revival, once again starring Candice Bergen in the titular role, was always intended to be a closed-ended order of 13 episodes. The multi-camera comedy from original creator Diane English has underperformed in its prime Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. slot and remains in consideration for a renewal. It will be replaced by a fellow multi-camera comedy Fam starting January 10th. For its part, Happy Together is CBS's only rookie series to not earn an order for additional episodes. The multi-camera family comedy featured...
I don't care about the rest of those turds. But yeah, that would surely this will stump the Trump, and nope, it won't. No, it will not.
This didn't even have a chance.
Where did this trend come from, by the way? It seemed like it just popped out of nowhere the past couple of years. All these canceled 80s, 90s shows suddenly getting reboots after the actors have become old and saggy and gross.
Yeah, I don't think reboot's not even the right word. I hate that people, and I know I'm getting all nerd here, but I hate that people keep saying that. Reboot would imply that you're starting it over and it's a different continuity. This is just a continuation. This is, I guess, a relaunch is perhaps a better word. And I'm not shitting on you for that. That drives me nuts when people say that. Reboot is not the word. But I don't think it's a bad idea in and of itself. I kind of like the idea of it, of you take, in theory, I should say, you take a classic show from years ago and you sort of see where things are decades later. It can work well. I thought the X-Files revival, again, a better word, I think, was pretty good. But some of these, I just there's Murphy Brown. This is a bunch of boomers think that they're going to drag out this glory day, because Murphy Brown that was back when the left-wing media still had this veil of respectability. Well, that's fucking gone. So nothing shows what a bubble they live in than thinking Murphy Brown is still fucking relevant.
And Monopoly.
Yeah, when they had a monopoly too. But
I've never watched Murphy Brown. Was it even that good when it was on air?
I was a little too young for it. I couldn't tell you, but I know it was full of a bunch of left-wing horse shit.
Yeah,
Now, how much it was actually good from a technical or writing standpoint, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, my mom was a big fan of the show, and she watched it all the way to the end. So I guess it held attention.
I know my dad thought that she was a communist cunt when I was a little kid. I specifically remember those words. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you about it. But like, I wouldn't like if somebody like, I don't know, brought back other classic shows and just like where those characters are now for a brief stint. I don't think that's a bad idea in and of itself. I think it can actually turn out really well. One of the biggest problems is the reason it's getting done so much is the fact that there's a creative bankruptcy in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, that's my problem with it. It's like,
there's nothing wrong with sequels. There's nothing wrong with reboots. There's nothing wrong with revivals. But to quote Razor Fist, those things should be existing alongside new intellectual properties.
To me, it just signifies that the culture has become so inward-looking that people have no new ideas anymore. It's just constant navel-gazing. And now that I think about it, this whole revival thing seems like it was started by Twin Peaks of all things. When they decided to do the new Twin Peaks series, which I think I haven't seen it and I don't want to see it because Twin Peaks should not have been revived. Twin Peaks was actually dead like midway through the second season because David Lynch stopped giving a shit. Like we didn't need a continuation of the story of Laura Palmer. Realistically, a lot of these shows should, in theory, a revival is not necessarily a bad thing. But honestly, like when it comes to some of these shows, like adding more to it can just diminish the original. Like
a lot of these, there's no need for more of it.
I mean, what's next? Are we gonna have a fucking Seinfeld revival?
I'll be honest with you. On Netflix, there's a show called Fuller House, which is I don't even know if revival is the right word. It's I guess a sequel series to Full House, and I mean it was corny, goofy, family fun, but I kind of liked it. I watched the first season of it. I'm like, this is. It's amazingly because in the 90s when I was a kid, those sort of very family-friendly sitcoms were a dime a dozen. But these days, to have something that I wouldn't mind a kid watching because it's not full of pause and communist propaganda was actually insanely refreshing.
Speaking of reboots, look at the potential cast for the new live-action Aladdin.
Oh dear God, that's another thing. Like these Disney live-action versions of animated movies. Like that's kind of a cute experiment, okay? Like doing that to one or two of the movies.
Dear God, yeah.
But farting this out on every single movie where it's damn near a shot for shot, and live action isn't even quite the term. Like they're calling this Lion King thing a live action. It's not live action. It's entirely computer animated. It's entire. There's not a fucking actor in the damn thing. There's not one real animal in the thing either. It's entirely computer animated. Why do you need a less visually interesting shot-for-shot remake of The Lion King?
Yeah, and it really shows just how inferior 3D graphics are to fucking
if
animation.
Like one movie they did it to, it would be a novelty. It would be kind of a cute experiment. Like if they had only done this with The Lion King, okay, it's an interesting experiment. But they've just decided we're just going to do this with all of our classic animated films because we can't fucking make quality animated films anymore. Like,
next up, I'm going to propose a live-action remake of Toy Story. It will just consist of cardboard cutouts in the style of South Park.
And here's the potential cast of Lion King.
Well, Lion King's got to already be casted. It had a fucking trailer.
Yeah, but no, something different.
Isn't that interesting?
What? Oh,
but wait, they couldn't get Jeremy Irons to do Scar.
Oh, they got John Oliver in there.
Oh, he's the
Seth
bird.
Rogen. This couldn't be more correct.
Seth Rogen. Oh my God.
And Billy, who's this guy? Billy is to Moon.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, fuck this movie. Oh, jeez. You know, I actually wouldn't mind a Toy Story remake if it was fucking puppets like Team America or Thunderbirds.
Oh yeah, another sequel.
That would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, Toy Story 4 is coming out too.
Oh, didn't they die in Toy Story 3? I thought they all died in a furnace.
They were reincarnated by new.
I'm not making that up. I didn't see Toy Story 3, by the way. I'm not making that up. I thought they all died in a furnace.
They know they survived and are taken in by a new owner.
They survived the furnace.
Yeah, and they're saved by the aliens with a giant claw. That claw.
God damn it, Disney. Yeah, there was a time I was just at the right age to see that Disney fucking revival in the 80s and 90s, and I was still a kid for it and all, like fucking like Little Mermaid. And Little Mermaid's probably the worst of the bunch, and it was still entertaining. Fucking Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin. I'm a fucking cynical old 35-year-old man. Aladdin's still funny and awesome. You know, fucking Lion King. Lion King was probably the last good one. After that, it was kind of shit. But like, just great shit for a while there. And now look at it. Now it's just, we're just gonna drag out its corpse until we're done raping it.
Died in a furnace. Isn't that kind of a morbid ending to a kids movie?
Yeah, I think it was like symbolic of hell, but they're rescued by a claw.
Damn.
I couldn't tell you. I didn't see the third one. I only saw like parts of the second one.
I'm tempted to fucking watch it now, even though
I thought Movie Bob was great in Toy Story 2, though. He was the toy collector, by the way.
The original two weren't too bad.
I liked the first one. I saw it in the theater, actually. And I mean, at the time, it was visually amazing. Well, you know, that's a great point right there. If you're going to, I Hate Everything did a video on this where he's talking about this. If you're going to remake anything animated movie-wise, why don't you remake the Pixar movies, but with current up-to-date fidelity? Like, just leave the voice cast the same, make it shot for shot, but just update the fidelity on it, like from the ground up.
Yeah, like with video games.
Yeah. You know, and the original would still exist for the purists out there. But, yeah, why don't you do that? Release Toy Story back in theater with completely updated visual fidelity. Instead of giving us Toy Story 4.
Yeah, I'd rather see actually a Bug's Life remake in that regard, because that movie was, I think, way better than a Toy Story.
I like Bug's Life. But then again, I'm one of the rare people that like that Ants movie that came out at the same time.
Yeah, Ants wasn't bad either. I like Bug's Life because it was a bit more daring. I'd say in terms of plot. I don't know. A lot of the later Pixar movies just became really formulaic with the whole Disney saccharine shit.
Came out,
and The Incredibles was good. It was a nice break from that.
It kind of drove me nuts that, and I haven't seen Incredibles 2 yet, but it kind of drove me nuts that, you know, it took them so long to make Incredibles 2. Meanwhile, they could fart out a million fucking Cars movies. But yeah, I mean, Pixar's like the worst Pixar movies are okay. I mean, that's how good they are. You know, the worst ones of the bunch are decently watchable flicks that you could, you know, put on to shut up a kid.
I dispute that in the case of stuff like Up. But then again, like,
you know, I've never seen Up, but everybody tells me it was good.
I don't know. It might just be because, like, these are movies for kids, and like the first Pixar movies I saw when I was a kid, and as an adult, I just don't care anymore. But I just find the whole Disney saccharine.
I think WALL-E I loved, and I think I was an adult when that came out. Yeah, I was pretty sure.
WALL-E wasn't terrible. It was just kind of it's not so much a problem with Pixar. It's a problem with Disney in general. They're just too damn saccharine, and they always have been. Okay, I always prefer the sort of Warner Brothers style where things are just zanier and more off the wall.
Well, I mean, I definitely prefer that in the old, you know, short cartoons. That's for sure. You know, I mean, I'd much rather watch old Bugs Bunny cartoons than old Mickey Mouse ones.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a good modern CGI movie made in that style is like, have you seen Rango? That the CGI movie with Johnny Depp.
You know, I haven't seen that. I've heard good things about it though.
That's really fucking good.
You know what I really liked as a kid? The one that were a little bit more dark, like Land Before Time, or Fievel or shit like that. Like, there was some pretty dark themes and tones in those movies.
Oh yeah,
the Don Bluth shit was great, man.
Yeah, Secret of Nim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of lost. Well, everyone says he lost the plot, but I don't know. I think his latter like anime movies aren't that bad. Like Anastasia's not that bad. Titan AE had really good visuals.
I rather
They
like
weren't
Titan AE.
terrible.
I rather like it. I think it's underrated.
Titan AE, like the biggest problem I can think of it is that they didn't really explain why the energy beings wanted to blow up Earth. But like, I don't know. It's a good visual movie. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. They were just assholes. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean, I just kind of chalk that up to like sometimes you don't know why.
Yeah,
sometimes somebody's fucking up your shit and you don't know why. You don't know what the hell their problem is.
Yeah, and I don't mind Anastasia. It's not that bad. I mean, it takes massive liberties of history, but it's a kids movie. Whatever. And again, it has good visuals in it.
Good acting, good animation, properly structured stories, they got that shit down. But the idyllic, unblemished worlds they create lack the grit and imperfections of the world that I know. I mean, for crying out loud, am I the only one who thinks it's a little weird that none of these characters have any body hair?
What the hell was that?
I don't know.
HotDiggityDemon.com on Moana.
I don't really like a lot of these DC Disney like CG movies that aren't Pixar. Like Frozen, I think is an absolute, and I know Frozen made them a ton of money, and little girls ate that shit up. But Frozen was a fucking dumpster fire. Like that's people talk about the Little Mermaid being a little confused. Like that's nothing compared to Frozen, man. As far as I'm concerned, the people that wanted to cut that bitch's head off were in the right.
Frozen is straight up like MK Ultra programming. Because having Disney switch to all CGI movies, including it didn't make a whole lot of sense. Well, first off, it took away a lot from what Pixar was doing, because when Pixar started out doing movies, they were the only people doing 3D movies. Them and like DreamWorks, and I think there was one other studio. So it was unique. It was novel, and Disney was still doing the 2D movies. But then Disney starts doing the 3D movies as well, and that loses novelty. Number two, there are things you can do in 2D animation. There are emotions you can stir on the human soul that just aren't possible with 3D animation. I mean, yeah, Toy Story is awesome to look at. Bug's Life is awesome to look at, but there's really nothing that compares to like Fantasia or Secret of Nim or like the animated version, Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings. There's just an element of creativity and immersiveness and just wonder you see in simple 2D animation that just cannot be replicated in the 3D world. You see the same thing in video games.
Yeah, I find that 3D animation also it's just going to age poorly. Like I said, Toy Story came out in 95. Okay, so that movie's a little over 20 years old now, 25 years old, something like that. And already I would be content with completely revamping the visuals from the ground up because they look a little aged. Meanwhile, I think Pinocchio looks fucking perfect, and that shit came out in the 40s.
Yeah, I mean the same thing could be observed in video games. I mean, which game holds up better? One of the original Super Mario's on the NES or Super Mario 64. Most people are going to say the ones on the NES or Super NES. The one on because Super Mario 64, that may have been novel when it came out in '96, but by modern standards, it looks like ass. Like all 3D games do. I think a lot of the fifth
generation early 3D, I liken them to basically the Atari in that they were incredibly novel at the time, but 3D was brand new, and a lot of those visuals aged pretty poorly. But also, I mean, here's a good example. What, like, 2D things, not even 3D. What aged better visually, Yoshi's Island or Donkey Kong Country? Obviously, Yoshi's Island. Now, but at the time, Donkey Kong Country was the more impressive feat. All these 3D pre-rendered graphics and shit. But now they look like half-melted plastic models. And Yoshi's Island still maintains this charming, almost coloring book fucking aesthetic to this day.
And today, one of the coolest video games and memorable video games is a 2D game called Cuphead.
Oh yeah, Cuphead is going to age like fucking wine. The visuals on that are going to always hold up.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude. The visuals on that are never going to look bad.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
I mean, those
really
are all
should- I
hand
really
drawn.
should get that.
When we've reached a point where you can hand draw. Now, I mean, it took them forever to make this and all. They had to crowdfund it and shit. But look at that. I mean, that speaks for itself. That's fucking art.
And here's the best scene. This part is the best scene, right? We just watched this scene right here.
God,
he just he transforms from a plane to a blimp to a moon monster.
I've got to get this game. It looks like one big acid trip.
Oh, it is. It's hard as balls too.
Oh yes,
it's like Mega Man Castlevania, like curb stomp you hard.
I need to crowdfund getting a gaming computer so I can stream shit more effectively, and a fucking controller. So I didn't know what the stream was about, but hit up my PayPal, everyone.
Just don't buy that shit on Black Friday for them. But yeah, it turned into a cloud monster, and they got a sun between them. This shit's amazing, man. Like I said, and these visuals would look good 100 years from now.
Oh look, I caught one of their ads.
I want to live to see the day that we send Roe versus Wade to the ash heap of history.
Okay. Man, Cuphead had some political themes, didn't it? That's what Cuphead says when you win a when you win a level.
I'm gonna after saying that, I'm gonna go donate to the NRA in Seth Rich's name.
It's fantastic. Look at a genie with a light bulb on his head. Oh, and then he brings out a Cuphead marionette to fight you. That's fucking awesome.
Here's one of the more. I guess this is more popular ones. This one right here.
You know, it'd be awesome to see like an RPG with a kind of graphics like this.
Let's see what other randoms like these boxing frogs. They turn to a giant slot machine. Like they turn to a fan, and then they get at the very end. They turn to a giant slot machine.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember watching Razorfist's stream on this. Like Cuphead looks like the kind of thing you would come up with. Like you have to be on a certain illegal substances in order to think this shit up. Oh, the sunflower. Yeah, the sunflower.
Yeah, I love the. I just love how this game looks.
Well, you can compare, like, say, you know, like the original Fallout games to like the modern ones. The original Fallout games, which were 2D and hand painted, a little drab looking, but they had a nice character compared to like the shitty shooters that Bethesda's putting out. The shitty shooters that are broken. Ha ha! All you faggots who bought Fallout 76 got owned.
Yeah, that was the There was a thing that said like Fallout 3 is where's my dad, Fallout 4 is where's my son, and then Fallout 76 is where's my refund.
Yeah, I got burned once on that, kids, with Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. Well, Fallout New Vegas wasn't too bad. I'm not buying any more of that shit. Especially considering that Bethesda has repeatedly proven they can't build a game that isn't halfway fucking broken.
Yeah, go fix our shit in mods. Do half our job for us. And thank us for the privilege. Oh, Lordy. All right. Well, is there any other articles I wanted to cover this week? I can't fucking remember because I'm retarded.
Well, you posted something in my Discord about how to hack a butt plug.
Oh yeah, that's right.
This might be old news because I think I did a podcast about this last year, but it's worth reminding everyone. This is the world we live in. This is the world we live in. Wi-Fi enabled butt plugs.
That people are hacking.
What?
So you can get like sex toys that have like little remote controls and stuff. I guess nowadays it's all on Wi-Fi. I remember back in the day, a young lady I was seeing at the time there was some sort of like vibrating panties that you could control with the remote control. And one time we went to the mall with such a thing that she was wearing, and because I am a degenerate, I'm not gonna lie, folks. You know, I need Jesus same as everybody, but nowadays I guess you get it on the Wi-Fi and it's on the cloud or whatever the fuck else. And people are just hacking into these butt plugs of people. Like, people are just wearing it like constantly. Like, what is wrong with people?
Yeah, this makes me think
How did
of
I become the least fucked up among society? Damn it!
Yeah,
I
this is
missed
the
when
point.
I was the freak.
This is the point where Luke Hughes, the guy from Jurassic Park, saying you spent so long thinking about whether you could, you didn't bother to think whether you should.
But I have a clip from Ralph Retort we're gonna play here.
Ooh,
and I'm pretty sure Ralph would be cool with this. You know, he's a cool guy, so I don't think he'd mind.
Well, he's not on YouTube anymore.
He's not on YouTube anymore, so I'm not. But yeah, we're gonna let's learn a little bit. You know, y'all know who V is, right, folks? V, for those of you that don't know, is also known as Sargon's carrier pigeon, the Romanian gypsy V, who's always sticking up for Sargon. Well, somebody dug into a profile V had on a site called F List, I believe.
Where do we even begin with this?
But yeah, let's listen to it, shall we? Let's
right,
learn a little bit about the liberalist culture.
Wait, furry profile?
Oh, Matt, we have such sites to show you.
Foss 217 says, "Who's the most degenerate, V, Soygon Kraut, or Mundane Fat?" What do you think? Gator?
I'm gonna have to go with V. I think V is the most degenerate among all of them. I think it's obvious.
All right. Yeah, it's about to be even more obvious.
What is it?
Let me link it here. It's from flist.net.
Flist.net.
Yes.
When I open it, it gives me a fucking warning. It says, warning, the page you are about to enter may contain adult material. If you are below the legal age to view such material in your country, do not proceed. This warning should only appear once. Oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, I can't actually show you guys the images, but let me read the profile here. Let me read the profile. Gender male, orientation bi, and it says male preference. By the way, the name's V right there too as well. Species digital dragon, furry preference, humans okay, furries preferred. Dom/sub role, and it says usually submissive. Desired roleplay length, it says long term, and this is an old profile, like what, about 8 years ago. And then we have his fave here. This is listed on his favorite list. Anal sex receiving in parentheses.
What?
Wait,
we haven't even begun. We haven't even begun, Matt. You're gonna pine for the days of hearing about anal sex receiving here very shortly.
Just now notice this. If you hover the mouse over the thing, it gives you a handy little description. Anal sex receiving says the act of being anally penetrated. Casual. Double penetration. Dragons, equines, which is like horses and shit. Hard sex, and this is the description for hard sex. Feel free to go all out. Yeah, these
the ones with the targets are him describing it himself.
Oh, is that true? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Now I get it. Okay.
That's fucking. Oh my god.
Now let me read this. Feel free to go all out. No need to hold back. Just make it last. Feel free to be rough. Just don't be abusive. No striking or permanent damage. Again, this is a V's profile on F list. Large cocks are on there. Orcas. I'm not sure. Water studs. Not sure what that is. Orientation.
Orcas. Who says there's no place for feminists in the liberalist philosophy?
Yeah, you did have sites to show me. Jesus.
Matt looks exactly like his picture right now.
He wrote big buff water studs.
Orientation says 99% gay with the occasional interest in certain types of females. If you're a girl interested in a Digimon player or are a female Digimon, feel free to inquire.
If you're a girl interested in Digimon, oh man, you're casting a wide net there, V. Nothing gets the panties wet quite like the fucking Kmart Pokemon.
Digimon, Digital Monsters, Digimon Other Champions.
Oh man, that nothing drops the panties quite like a Digimon fetish.
So listen to this. So long as you fit his desired criteria, larger than he is and hung, a good 10 inches plus, then he will only rarely say no. So willing or not so much, he'll still come around and enjoy it. Reptiles, romanticize. Smooth. If you've got scales or any type of smooth, leathery, rubbery skin, then you're high on his list. Tight. Video games. Yes, I played them a lot. Want to talk about them and see if we can play some together? Feel free to start with that. So video games on the list. Age play.
Oh no.
Age play is on his yes list. Actually, it's on there twice. It's
on there twice.
Just in case you didn't get the message. Age play is on there twice. Femboy / cross-dressing. Always up for this on request. Don't hang around all the time in skirts, dresses, or blouses, but we'll wear such things if you like. It's more along the secret pleasures type of thing and not something done publicly.
Oh no.
Remember when he was on this program and he said he was talking about certain furry fetishes and stuff, but he said, "Well, I hope they don't discover some of my hidden fetishes. That would really fuck me up." Do you remember when he said that?
I do remember that. Well,
he said that on this program.
He did.
What else is on this list?
How you doing there, V?
Groups and gangbangs. What did somebody else say? Cum bath? Was cum bath in there too?
Cum bath. It's so fucking funny. How you feeling there, Forty?
I'm not good.
Oh, you ready to join the liberalist party?
This guy's Romanian, right?
Luke, throw up a picture of V too, because let me just say it all makes sense when you see the guy.
Does he live in Romania, or is he in Britain or somewhere else?
I don't know. As far as I know, he lives in Sargon's asshole.
Well, if he's still in Romania, like we've got Wafflevel, who's he watches my channel. I know he watches your channel, Bechtloff. He's Romanian. I have another Romanian reader. Any Romanians in the audience, please, find this guy and hurt him. Just hurt him a lot.
Hey, we can't be saying that. I disavow that on my YouTube channel. Do not do any of that. That's all satire, folks. But
hurt him with your words. I was not finished.
Hurt him
with your words.
There you go. Use your words like a big boy. That's V right there. That's V. And wow. So let's continue, shall we? I want to learn more about the liberalist sexual liberally.
For some reason, I visualized him as being hairier.
He probably is, for all we know.
That's actually not his shirt. He just dyed his body hair green.
What is cum inflation?
Oh my god, he likes.
Wait, did he just say cum inflation?
What is cum inflation? That's the best Jeopardy question ever.
Okay, what is cum inflation? Please.
Let's find out.
Oh,
that's on the maybe
list.
A
whole fucking video on the inflation fags.
Okay, it's been a minute.
Oh, this is fucking.
It involves air inflation into the body.
So I guess instead of air.
Oh,
that's a lot of cum.
Amazing.
Cum enemas.
Isn't that just some dude fucking uni acid coming? What is a cum enema? Is it different than just getting
with a turkey baster?
Well, I mean, a cum enema doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. I mean, you're typically taking an enema so that you can get fucked in the ass. But if the dude has already came, what? I know I'm asking you about the particulars of one man's journey into hell, but these are questions I want the answers to.
No. Let's keep going.
Fucking god. It's like an internet insanity in one fucking page.
Thick, sticky cum.
The more I read, the more I laugh.
a preference for character semen to be particularly thick and or viscous, often comparable to tar or glue.
Oh.
Throat penetration.
What?
Sloppy seconds. Engaging in a role play in which a character that has just been came in receives sex from a different partner in the same orifice without removing the previous top's semen. What is this?
What the fuck is this? Oh, look at this. Second Life. Feel free to talk to me. I'm meeting me to play Second Life. There's a distinct possibility that playing this very sound that I'm about to find on my soundboard could absolutely trigger the ever-loving fuck out of V.
What?
Let me see if I can fucking find it. I rearranged everything on here, so let's see where I put it.
Making us
give me a minute. I'll find it.
She-males. Sissification, the act of changing the appearance of a male character through realistic means, particularly by the use of makeup, female clothes, and or female accessories. Somebody said hermaphrodite was also on his yes list. I don't see that. Oh wait, hold on. Yes, hermaphrodites. Expresses an interest in female identifying characters that have breasts, a penis, and a vagina.
By the way, I found that sound. This is for you, V.
Wait. Female identifying characters that have a breast, a penis, and a vagina.
Yeah,
so Richard Spencer?
Oh.
But
there is a whole subgenre of that. Don't ask me how I know that.
We're going to save the West, folks. The liberalists. We're going to save the West. Keep going, Luke.
By the way, there are some images on this page. I'm going to look. Let me see which ones I can show. I might be able to blur. Oh my God, this is just...
God!
I can't. Some of them. Oh man,
no,
this is bad.
No, you can't. Oh my God, what the fuck?
Let me see.
This is some fucking internet insanity shit.
Let me see here. Hold on. I might be able to blur this out in real time. Turn up the intensity of the blur.
Wait. One of the things listed on here is large balls. Expresses an interest in balls that are large. I swear, it's like you go down the list of all of the fucking videos Jim has made on just internet retards, and he just like checked every fucking box on the way down.
By the way, I think
multi-genitalia, mastilidae. That's minks and ferrets and shit. Parent and child play.
What is wrong with this guy?
Prehensile cocks.
Man,
Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm trying to say
underage characters. Zoophilia.
Dude, it's all on there. It's got the works.
It's got the works.
Fuck, why is it doing this? There's several photographs on here. There's an even larger photo gallery somewhere else. I think I can show that, right, Gator? That's enough blur, you think?
All right, pause it for a second, Luke. I put a video in the chat there. This is just a question I would like to ask V on the off chance that he should watch this. So, Luke, if you could play that quick little voice clip.
Oh, where in the?
It's in the chat. It's in the side. It's the last thing in the chat. So yeah, play this quick little voice clip.
Oh, can you send it again?
Hang on. Yeah, there. That should be it.
Have you heard of Jesus?
Exactly.
I'm not gonna sleep. I'm not gonna sleep well tonight.
Okay, so that's the Liberalist Party, folks. They put on their big boy suits and
this is Matt right now, everyone.
Help.
So, I think we're gonna close out on this wonderful number. I hope you all have pleasant dreams after that. And so yeah, that's about all we got for tonight. Like I said, those liberalists, they're gonna save the West. They're gonna save the West. They're gonna put on their big boy suits and they're gonna save the West. So like I said, if you enjoy the show, check out our sponsor, The Pence Principle, on paperback and Kindle over at Amazon. And check out the tip jars where you can support the show via PayPal, Patreon, or Amazon wishlist. And also, don't forget that tomorrow night we're going to be having a friendly little back and forth, me and Forney, tomorrow night on this channel at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be discussing why Matt Forney hates Christmas. And hopefully Matt's heart will grow 3 sizes that night. Matt can't even do the banter back and forth now.
He needs some time to recover.
He needs some time to recover so he can be throwing that Bance back. You know.
Well, Ralph was telling the other guy to stop even calling out the list of fetishes because every single one of them was fucking clicked.
He's like, yeah, it's there. It's all there. It's the work.
There is a no list in there somewhere.
Wait, what is the no list? Missionary sex with a woman? Is that on the no list?
We save that for another time.
Oh, jeez. So yeah, folks, that's about all we got for tonight. Like I said.
And before we go, what better way to close us out than with some words of a cartoon George W. Bush?
Okay, this should make my bosses very happy.
Your bosses?
Yeah.
Alrighty. And like I said, that's all we got for tonight, folks. Like, if you like the show, consider supporting the show. And you can follow me on the Gab, the Bechtloff on there. You can follow me. You can follow Luke on the Twitter as he posts things I direct him to post on twitter.com/Bechtloff podcast. No A in the word podcast. And also you can follow me on the Facebook.com/the Bechtloff. And that's about all we got for tonight, folks. I want to thank you all for listening. Bechtloff out.